A soldier crouches in a muddy trench, shivering as explosions shake the ground all around him. He wasn't even born when the last war ended. And yet, here he is, fighting again. If wars are so awful for everyone, why do they keep coming back? It's a question we keep asking. We build monuments to never forget. We say, never again. But war comes back, over and over. Why? Here's the simple version people usually say. People are greedy. People hate each other. But that doesn't really explain it, does it? If everyone loses so much, shouldn't we all just choose no war? But here's the strange twist. Most wars don't start because everyone wants them. Wars often begin because a tiny group, just a few leaders, choose them. Let's dig into why some owners of countries or armies make this awful choice. Imagine a game of Risk. You get more land by attacking. If you're playing alone, attacking is risky. You could lose it all. But what if your own loss doesn't matter to you? What if you only lose a little, while everyone else pays the price? That's how real wars start, most of the time. Owners or leaders, presidents, kings, generals, make decisions for everyone. But if things go wrong, it's not them in the muddy trench. It's regular people who get hurt. The leaders still get their palaces or their medals, win or lose. Here's a surprising example that scientists even gave a name: principal-agent problem. The principal is the people, the ones who pay the price. The agent is the leader, the one making choices. If the agent's interests don't match the group's, things go wrong. Let's see how this works in the real world. In 1914, Europe was linked by family ties and business. Most people did not want war, but a few leaders, just a handful, pulled everyone in. Austria-Hungary declared war, triggered by personal rivalries and bad decisions at the top. By the end, over 4 years, 20 million people were dead. The decision was made in a single room by a few. This isn't rare. Here's the next twist. One big study in 2014 by political scientist Benjamin Valentino found that almost every major war since 1800 began with just a few leaders deciding, less than 20 people in most cases. Imagine, for the rest of us, war is disaster, bombs, hunger, heartbreak. But for a leader, war sometimes helps. How? Winning a war can make a leader a hero. Even losing can help the leader distract people from their own problems. A war also lets leaders take control. In World War II, Hitler started multiple wars, but he didn't fight in the front lines. He made speeches from a safe bunker. Here's another weird twist. Sometimes leaders start wars to stay in power. Scientists even found that when leaders face elections or scandals, the risk of starting a war goes up. In 1982, the leaders of Argentina, facing huge protests, invaded the Falkland Islands to spark national pride. It worked for a short time. Crowds cheered, protests stopped. But in the end, thousands died, and it didn't solve their real problems. Now here's the trickiest part. Sometimes, countries go to war not because of a fight, but from fear. If a leader thinks another country might attack, they might choose to strike first, just in case. This is called a security dilemma. One side builds up its army, so the other gets nervous and does the same. Then both sides fear each other even more. It's a runaway train. This fear loop led to World War I. Nobody wanted it, but no one wanted to be the last to act. Here's an even stranger fact. Some leaders start wars because they believe it will be quick and easy, but they are usually wrong. A study by political scientist Dominic Johnson in 2004 found that almost every modern leader predicts victory will come faster and cost less than it really does. And yet, year after year, leaders make this same mistake, because if a leader loses, they pay far less than everyone else. So that's the heart of the problem. The people who decide are not the people who suffer. But it gets even more complicated. Sometimes groups feel they have to fight to defend each other. Treaties can force countries to fight even if they don't want to. For example, in World War I, alliances made sure that one small conflict dragged in most of Europe. And sometimes countries rely on neighbors for protection. So if one goes to war, others feel they can't back down. So what can stop this? Occasionally, people do get to decide. And here's something surprising. History shows true democracies, where regular people vote, almost never fight each other. Political scientist Michael Doyle found in 1983 that since the 1800s, no two democracies have started a full-scale war against each other. Why? Because when people get a real choice, they almost always choose peace. Leaders, alone, choose war far more often than regular people would. But worldwide, most people still don't get to decide. And even in democracies, leaders sometimes find ways around the rules. So wars keep happening. But here's the final twist. Most of the time, war is not the will of the people. It's because a tiny group, the owners of power, make decisions for everyone else. And as long as leaders can choose war and not pay the price, it will keep coming back. But the more regular people get a say, the less likely it is. So that's why wars keep happening, because the people who decide often aren't the ones who suffer the most. But there's another world-shaped mystery. Why do almost all countries have borders? See you in the next Why